You should play live didgeridoo one time. Where is it? I know it's in here somewhere.
This case file started.
Case file 26. The Franklin Roosevelt expedition.
That's completely incorrect.
What? No, that's super. One of those 3 words is wrong.
Alien theorist theorizing. I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
Back in studio.
This is weird, actually, having you here.
It is
seeing your
weird.
face.
Because normally I'm face down in my pillow, like snoring.
Normally you sound just absolutely horrible. We're sorry you guys have to listen to this fucker on Skype, but he's in studio tonight, so here we go.
And new studio. This is the first time I've been in the new home of Alien Theorists Theorizing. It looks unreal. I sent a picture on
It's beautiful.
Twitter. It is beautiful.
I'm proud.
It's far better than the space we were in.
That place.
We can't even make jokes. We used to make jokes about the studio and like it being really good, but it was really shitty. But now we can't because it is really good.
The old studio was a shitbox, and this studio is real.
Yeah, the studio is awesome. So we're drinking beer tonight. I don't know if you actually used the money to buy this beer, but let's say we're drinking on him. Whoever, do you remember his name? I had it on my phone when my phone died. Matthew? Yeah, thanks, Matthew. He supplied the beer for tonight. We are drinking Old Milwaukee Ladies. Delicious.
These Old Milwaukee Ladies.
I got redhead.
Well, they got the ladies on the can.
They got ladies on the can.
Oh, okay.
I also have the
That makes more
redhead.
sense.
She's wearing a little short pants, short suit kind of thing.
It's like it's a, what do they call it? A onesie?
Yeah, a onesie.
Or not a onesie, jumper.
She looks
jumper.
good.
Ah, okay.
So,
it's got polka dots on it.
we didn't buy fancy beer. I'm going to give it 3 stars because it's got 3 stars on the can. So
It's the best cheap beer you can buy.
it is. Oh, I like Bush too. I like
Bush, yeah. Buscemi's are
beer.
great.
Steve Buscemi's. Any other Twitter? No one's sending Ron Pond pictures yet, which is a little disappointing.
I haven't seen any Ron Pond sightings.
I did see one, and you know what? This could have happened to other people, so I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And it's probably a rare occurrence to actually see someone out in public, like wearing the full denim. But I saw a guy yesterday, but I left my phone at home. And I yelled out Ron, and he didn't look, so
it wasn't him.
not him. So that's cleared up. But yeah, keep your eyes out there for Ron Pond because he's out there. He's in his denim.
He lives.
He lives.
He's just as elusive as the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
He's omnipresent,
Apparently.
so he can be everywhere at the same time.
My goal is I want Ron Pond to be bigger than Harambe at some point.
Just blow up the internet.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to destroy a little kid in this in the cage first,
Oh,
and then has to be shot.
I didn't even know what that was, and then I kept seeing. I was at the Canucks game, and everyone was doing those dap dance moves, and then everyone had like Harambe signs, and people had Harambe jerseys, and I was like, "What? What is this?"
You're talking about the gorilla, right?
Yeah,
I did
had to
not
look it up.
notice that. I did not know that was that big.
I had to look
I've
it up.
seen the stuff about it, but it's just like, wow.
And then
I
I was
thought
like,
it was going to die off like last month
why
or
are people
something.
mad?
But
I
I
watched
just
the
kind of come
video.
back with a vengeance.
I don't know. I don't know why people got mad at them killing the gorilla. The kid was in there. You have a 400-pound gorilla dragging this kid around. Like he's probably going to rip it in half. He's got.
It was like he was dragging around a little speedboat when he was in the moat there by the lake. I was like, "Oh my god!"
What they should have done is shot Harambe and then did something with the parents who let the kid fall into the gorilla cage.
No, and then he was doing some weird stuff like poking his butt and stuff. I was like, "Oh, that doesn't look good."
Yeah,
Like,
you gotta
shoot the
you
gorilla.
Gotta end this gorilla right now because something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, and then I was looking into it, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. So I want Ron Pond
To be bigger than
Trump,
Harambe.
to trump Harambe. So that's my goal. We'll see.
We'll see. That was a ridiculously big story for what it was. Forget about it.
It was pretty funny because I watched the video and I was like, I'd never even seen the video, and I was like, holy shit, that gorilla was.
Well, where was Ron Pond there? You should have helped that kid out.
Maybe Ron
True.
Pond take the shot. I noticed I was reading that no one
Clean
knows
shot.
who
Clean
shot
shot.
it. Yeah, one shot him.
One shot, one kill.
Man, that was funny.
Not as good as one shot, 2 kills, collateral damage, but
It's
only
true.
your Call of Duty players will get that.
Xbox players.
It's video game season.
Video game
It's
season.
video game
has
season.
arrived.
Whoa.
So if you're playing Battlefront, you're going to see us. Like, I know we set our gamer tags. I'm Renomon, Ryan Zelfor, We'll put it on Twitter again. You're going to start seeing a lot more of us. Winter is our video game time. We got some big games coming up that I'm going to buy. I'm 100% buying Battlefield. Going to get really big in Battlefield 1. I'm super excited for this. A new Knights of the Old Republic.
Get out.
I just saw the trailer for it. And,
That's going to consume my life.
Yeah, it comes out December. So we're going to get a couple months of Battlefield. Let's anyone who's got Xbox, I know I've added a whole bunch of you. So let's start
You got a clan tag ATT?
Yeah, clan tag ATT. And then we're going to actually, how many words? Because think we can be prolapse?
I think you only get 4.
4? Okay, ATT then. ATT. But yeah, so let's all play Battlefield together. We can be mechanics and engineers and snipers, and it'll be fun. Should be a good time. And poor Dan on the PC, well, sucks to suck.
Poor Dan. PC Master Race all the way.
Hey, can PC...
I thought they could cross-platform now.
Can we cross-platform and play with you, actually?
I don't think so. Not yet. I don't know about PS4 and Xbox. That might happen, but I don't know about PC.
Right.
Just because it's all way, way different.
Yeah, but I can use a mouse and keyboard on my Xbox One and the same thing.
Yeah.
True. I don't know.
They should be
That
able
would
to.
be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be all. Really
You got
awesome.
any
That'd be fun.
shitter twat outs?
No, I
None?
don't.
Oh, I'm wearing the new shirt. It is unreal. Like,
Finally got a. Oh yeah, we've sent out some shirts. There's been people buy shirts.
I did see the sketch of Mr. Conspiracy.
Someone
based on
someone sent a sketch of Mr. Conspiracy. Oh, that was Raven. Raven
Yeah.
Savage. Thanks, Raven.
Yeah, thanks for that. It was
That's pretty much a perfect
Definitely
it
representation.
was eerily close, like surprising. But anyways, buy a t-shirt. We want to make more t-shirts because I don't want to buy my own t-shirts anymore. I want to have a full closet of ATT. So the faster we get rid of these ones, the sooner we'll pick the next batch and keep doing this. It's fun. I like this shirt. It's super soft.
The next T-shirt contest is ending November 3rd, but the T-shirts will become available shortly after that. No, it's not going to be a 6-month wait this time. So
No.
get your designs, and there's been a couple good already. A couple good selections come in.
Yeah. So far my favorite is someone did a crude drawing. Now we're gonna have to fix it. They did a crude drawing of like the
1977 like Canada Cup like
jerseys,
hockey jerseys with Ron Pond
with Pond on the back.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then Alien Theorizing on the front with the half a maple leaf.
Yeah, like I really like
was
that.
great.
Get there. And people on Facebook, I read some stuff and heard things where people are like, "Oh, I like the design," but it doesn't really capture the show. And it's like it's made by the fans. It's like we love you guys. This show is nothing without you guys. So I don't think we're ever going to really put out just one. I like this theme we have of the shirts are made by you guys for you guys. So any winner we choose, that's the only thing. It's 100% represents the show because without you guys, we wouldn't do this at all.
Not everyone's going to love every shirt, and that's okay. Just wait for the next one. Submit your design, and
Yeah.
you can make your own.
You don't like the shirt? Put your design in, put a good one in, and we'll pick it. But I love this shirt. Like I am thrilled. It's probably jumped up to my favorite shirt.
They're nice.
Danks, right? Danks?
Thanks, Danica. Yeah.
Danica. Yeah, thanks for this design, Danica. It's awesome. Make sure to send us a picture wearing the shirts. If you bought a shirt, send in pictures wearing the shirts.
They
wear the shirt with your Budweiser sweats.
People have bought shirts, but there's no way they're getting them right away because I sent them out. They take 5 to 10 business days to get.
Yeah, well, they're not going to get them this month, but eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
I want to start seeing that Twitter feed popping off with ATT shirts.
Okay, let's keep rolling. Let's go on to
Space news.
Yeah.
No auroras, no chance of auroras, but I do have something cool. I am moving up north, far north.
Oh, you're going to Aurora country.
I'm going north of the wall and Aurora country. So I am actively going to try to get aurora shots. So I will be on high aurora alert.
You're going to see auroras weekly.
Yeah. So
up there,
I'm really excited for that. So I will be posting pictures of auroras when I can get a chance. I will be up there in a week. So start looking for aurora pictures on Twitter. What else you got? Ryan, what you got? I see your eyes lighting up.
We talked about it like a long time ago, probably almost a year ago. The alien megastructure. The star keeps getting stranger.
Really? So we've got an update.
Update on the alien megastructure. We talked about this. Man, it must have been Case File 2 or something way back. But there was like they were looking through the Kepler Space Telescope, and there was this weird, strange like dimming of this one sun. The sun is KIC 8462852.
KIC 846-152. Yeah, I
Good
remember.
old 8462852.
Yeah, you've instantly refreshed my memory.
Yeah,
I can't believe I forgot that.
Anyways,
name.
so back then we were talking about there was this weird dimming going on that they're like they thought it was like some weird planet that made it, but it was too sporadic for like a planetary orbit. So they thought, obviously, that as an alien megastructure harvesting all the sun's energy.
Yeah.
That's the first thing your mind goes
Super
to.
cool.
But now, like 1 year later, there's even more strangeness with the star, like dimming. Like it's dimming, progressively dimming over like a short period of time, which I guess for this type of star is never. It's not documented in any of the Kepler data yet. And some of the dips in brightness are up to 22% sporadically.
Whoa!
So it's not like a planet or it's nothing that we know of yet that can be dimming the sun that much for a short period of time. And in total, it's just like constantly becoming dimmer rapidly. So chances of there being some type of Dyson sphere, they call it, like a whole bunch of alien ships surrounding a star harvesting all its energy. It's becoming, it's there.
It's in the debate.
It's there. They keep talking about it. They don't know what it is. So because they don't know what it is scientifically, obviously it's aliens.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah.
that's got to be
No-brainer.
nuts because if we're looking at it from Earth, and if it's a couple million light years away, it's like you're looking back in time.
Exactly.
And you're like, that's going to be crazy. And see how long it takes to. If it's some sort of like, if it's some sort of alien megastructure that's like siphoning off the energy of the sun, whether it is to,
That's cool to think because, so whatever happened there has already happened and we're seeing it. So it's like, things could get even weirder in the, like, if it's getting like this.
Yeah, because it's 1,500 light years away.
Okay, so like 1,500 years.
Yeah, so like...
That's not too far, relatively.
It's a short distance as the scope of the galaxy goes as we know it. So,
So
weird.
maybe you're looking at something that's like they built it 1,500 years ago, and we're watching it, and they're like thinking like, "This is a great idea. This is the best idea we've ever had," and then the star explodes. And they're like, wow.
We're just gonna see a hypernova come out of there pretty soon.
Yeah, I just see it happen, and you're just like, "Wow, that was a mistake."
Oh man, I'm really loving though that like I find lately I've been getting lots of like news about potential aliens with this now, and then the SETI getting their weird radio signals a while back. Like it seems progressively picking up that we're getting like it's like weird space stuff.
There's weird space stuff. There's weird alien stuff all the time. We're seeing like
China just built the world's largest telescope. They just built a new one, so that ought to be pretty cool.
Is it it's a planetary telescope or is it
radio telescope?
telescope? Okay.
Ooh, cool.
Well, China just said that they just confirmed UFO or alien existence too, but I think the article might have been bogus, so I didn't really look into it. So,
you know what I had? I don't even know if I want to say it because I wrote down notes.
you have to.
Well, see, I'm going to botch it.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Okay, well, I'm going to say I read this article about this Lockheed Martin engineer. He's like 86 years old now, and like last year, you know about that too. Maybe we should talk.
We have the technology to send ET home.
Oh, I don't know if it's that one, but he just documented. He had like old pictures and stuff that he personally kept of like aliens and stuff, and he was just like, "I want full disclosure. Like, I worked this forever. It's top classified job. There's aliens. We know of 2 types for sure."
Like that stuff that happens all the time.
And he called them. He called one Wranglers and some like Rustlers or something. And he's
That's
like,
weird. I don't think I've heard of that
we
one.
get along. I just read it and I wrote down all the stuff and then I forgot to bring it.
Oh,
but it's cool. It's and he's old as fuck. Like, and my thing is like, why lie at that point? You know what I mean? Like, it makes more sense to me.
You kept your secret your whole life.
Yeah,
let it out.
It makes more sense to me that you're old and you're like, you know what? Everyone should fucking know this. This is cool stuff. I want to change the world. And you say this, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're fucking lying."
No, because I've heard that from Lockheed Martin. That I wasn't really planning on saying it, but there was this one like either CEO or some type of innovation specialist said we have the technology to send ET home, kind of like poking the stick at we have like anti-gravitational spacefaring spacecraft, like we can do that. Just like loosely, just like in passing, it's like we have the technology to send ET home. So.
Why not? Why not do it?
They're probably doing it, and we just don't know.
Like they've sent.
Secret NASA program, the Black NASA.
The Black
NASA program.
I 100% believe that
We should do that one.
the military.
That's very
The military is. It's known that it's 10s or 20 or 30 years ahead of anything we have, or maybe even farther. I guarantee they have some type of anti-gravitational torsion field exploiting spacecraft
Oh, that'd be
that
so
can
sweet.
journey into space relatively easy. So I think they have it, but we'll find out. We'll let you know. We'll find out. We'll let you
Yeah,
know.
we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll look it up for you.
Yeah, we'll look it up.
Hashtag look it up.
Anyways, let's go. Let's get to the topic. What do we got?
Okay, so this is the famous Franklin's Lost Expedition.
Yes.
Right? Summarize it. Basically, two ships, the HMS Terror and the HMS Erebus, left England in May 19th of 1845 to chart the Northwest Passage. At the point, these two ships were the most well-equipped and well-provisioned ships in pretty much all of world naval history at that point.
Yet the worst named.
Yeah, two of the worst names.
Well, they were-
Erebus and Terror.
They were ex-military ships, so I think that's where they came from, like those type of
Yeah, they
sinister
were-
names
yeah.
before you sent them off on this expedition. But yeah, it's still
Yeah.
crazy.
They were both ships designed to fire mortars, so they were both like bomb ships. So yeah, inspired terror, but not the most auspicious setting out. But anyways, these two ships left 1845 to chart the Northwest Passage through the North Pole.
Hold on, Dan.
And
With
not-
names
well,
like Terror and Erebus, what are the odds this is a happy story?
I mean, it's the
Would
same
you
as the
say-
odds as
would
you
say
getting on
those
a
names
Carnival cruise
may have
ship
been
named
a little
Doom.
ominous? Yeah.
How good of a time are you expecting to get on a cruise ship named, the Black Plague or something,
Come spend a week down on Carnival Cruise.
Hey, what does Erebus
Despair.
mean? What does Erebus mean? Deep darkness or shadow. Oh, sweet. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. That sounds fun, hon. Let's book that one. Where's
So
it going?
these two ships left, never seen again
Well,
after that.
they
Well,
have been seen again. Let's say they've been found with the crew. Well, technically, everyone's been seen again
Cruise, no survivors.
But-
is what it's being said. There were no survivors.
in various states of disrepair. Let's say that.
Indeed. Out of 129, somewhere 130 people put it at, 130 people.
Yeah, I got 100.
No survivors.
I got 129.
129.
Well, I seen
okay,
135 too, but I guess when they made it to Greenland,
I think,
then
yeah, they got to
sent-
Greenland, they dropped one off.
They sent like 4 or 5 guys home for sickness.
What year was
Right.
this?
1845.
1845.
So we can't talk to these guys probably.
Well,
no.
Damn it.
Ouija board.
Ron Pond
Ouija?
or Ouija board.
No, we got to do a
board.
demon board. We'll get a demon board and try.
People have been asking, like, "Oh,
not-
we're disappointed. We're disappointed you guys didn't summon something with the Ouija board." So I was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna try and get a demon board."
We're disappointed nothing's haunting you for the rest of your
What?
days and consuming your soul in hell.
like-
Can you try
It's
again?
blaming the weather guy. That's like blaming the weatherman that it didn't rain when he said it's going to rain. Like, it's, spiritual,
Hey, we tried. We
ghost
tried.
winds, whatever.
Oh.
I listened back to part of that episode the other day just for fun because someone said, like, when you guys were chanting Ouija, it was so fucking dark and sinister. I was like, huh, was it really? It was pretty weird, actually. When I listened back, I was like, huh, yeah, we did that.
Because we were
Into it.
We gave
wanted
110%.
it. We wanted it.
We tried. We really tried to get shit. So, anyways, sorry,
Continue.
Dan. Continue. 129 people lost their souls, their lives.
Yeah. Now, these guys, the men that were on these ships were not, they weren't newbies. They weren't new at this. The Captain Franklin,
They weren't
who was
lily
Sir
livered?
John Franklin, was he was kind of old. He was 59 when they hired him to do this, I think. It was his last voyage. It was his 4th time, though, but he'd been to North Pole before. This guy wasn't no scrub. Like, he'd done these things before, and he really wanted to make it through this time.
Well, yeah, he said 59 is super old for that expedition. That's what I kept hearing. But because they only had like 300 kilometers left to track through the Northwest Passage, he's like, I got to be the guy. And they're like, well, they went to another guy, the next best suitor, and he declines. Like, oh, Franklin, you're in.
Okay, but 59 years old in 18 when?
50.
Yeah, that's like a
1850.
billion
Or
years old.
1845.
That's
yeah.
like a 90-year-old now. Like that
Like a
guy
walking
is
corpse.
so fucking dead.
No wonder
Yeah.
he probably went. He knew he was going to die. He's like, well, I'm pretty much gone. So.
He's like, I'm taking
it.
128 people with me.
Fuckers.
They'll never find us again. I'll live forever.
These two ships, the Terror and the Erebus, like I said, they were the best equipped ships. They had refitted these ships. They pimped them out to make them be as cold weather resistant as any vessel had ever been. They reinforced the hulls with iron plating. They had actually implemented some new Victorian technologies. Like at that point, they installed steam-driven screws, propellers, which was completely new. They'd never done that. And these two ships had one thing that ships had never had before. They had on-board desalinization plants, so they could take seawater and turn it into fresh water.
And that comes back into the conspiracy a little later, but we'll leave you
So
hanging on that.
Remember that. They're also the best provisioned at this point. They had one of the biggest concerns about Northwest or Northern polar exploration is getting trapped in ice and pretty much starvation. You know, you run out of food, you don't have enough food, you can't preserve the food. What are you going to do about it? Well, these ships were provisioned with, for at the one time, which was relatively new technology, tin can food. They canned their food. So that was also new. But that'll come back to play later.
Yes, it will.
It's the reason why I never have Campbell's canned soup.
Yeah, and like and these boats, I think that they were supposed to be gone for 3 years. It was a 3-year journey they anticipated for, but they had 5 years worth of supplies. So
yeah, they were ready to go. They were
stocked
saying,
up for every situation, pretty much.
yeah, they were ready to make it through on those ships. I mean, they had planned to make it through on ships. That was their one go-to plan. They had no inkling of doubt that they weren't going to make it through on those ships. That was their whole thing.
Yeah, because there was like, for years before that, they were trying to find the Northwest Passage to cut like months off the trip to India or whatever they're going.
Get to Asia, yeah.
Yeah, but they only had like 300 kilometers left. Well, they didn't know they only had 300 left, but now if you look back at the map, how far they'd made it before that and how far they made it then, they didn't have that far to go. So like the possibility they could have made it, like they should have almost done it.
Almost made it.
Almost.
So close.
So close.
Oh, yeah,
So what happened?
So yeah, what did happen?
Okay, so these two ships.
Dan, just tell us how it happened.
Dan knows, not us. That's why we're asking.
Hashtag Dan knows.
So these two ships leave. Like you said, it was only supposed they were pretty much sure that it might have taken like 3 years. They weren't going to go straight to. If they made it through, they weren't going to go straight to Asia or make it straight to the Canadian mainland or wherever they were going. They had botanists on board. They were going to explore and record like new fauna and flora that they discovered along the way. So they said about 3 years wouldn't be strange to not hear from these two vessels. Like 3 years with no word would not be strange. So the first year that they didn't hear anything from either vessel, the British Admiralty weren't really worried. They're like, nah, it's normal. It's fine. Like getting messages out of the polar ice is impossible. So it's not a big deal. They'll be fine. The second year, they still had no word, but they still weren't worried. But actually, Captain Franklin, the leader of the expedition, his wife started to become worried that she's saying that we should have heard something by now. And the British Admiralty are like, no, you're a woman. You're just emotions are getting in the way. Get out of here. Go sew your petticoats.
They
whatever.
said 3 years, all right?
Yeah.
So when the
Impatient.
third year rolls around with no word, now they've started to get worried.
Yeah. Now they're worried. They could have been lost on day 2. Now they're like, well,
3 years.
3
I guess,
years. We haven't heard anything. I guess we should look.
Yep. So they started sending out search parties at that point to go and look for what was perhaps they were looking for survivors, or they were looking for anything. They had
So-
just had no word. They had no idea what had happened to these two ships.
Can you imagine being a search party back then? Because you're like, the ship went. They're like, oh, it's going to be at least 3-year journey. 3 years, and they're like, we haven't heard them. We're going to send a search party. Search party, be prepared to be. You're going in the ice for approximately 3 years to try to look for these guys. And they're like, well, what happens if we find them? They're like, I don't know. We'll send a search party to get you.
Imagine you're one of those search boats. All right, guys, the Terror and the Erebus, they've been gone for 3 years.
You're like, what are they named?
Wait, what's Erebus mean? Deep darkness or shadow. What?
They're like, what's the ship we're taking? Oh, they're like, death.
Yeah,
You're death.
you're on board death.
Bringer of death. Take the bringer of death to the Arctic and search for the shadow.
Wait, you
and-
want us to go find the ship halfway around the world? It's been gone for 3 years. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We're on it.
Yeah.
I guess so.
How long until you send a search party for us?
Well,
3
at least
years.
3 years. Yes.
Yeah, 3 years. Like, perfect.
Yeah.
So you send them. You send them with 5 years worth of provisions. How much do you get? 1 year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect.
awesome. Great for king and country.
Yeah.
Pretty much is what it was back then.
Yeah, they were pretty much the Admiralty told you to do something, you went and fucking did it.
Yeah.
Nothing to do about it. I mean, back then, Polar X relation was the big thing. I mean, even in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, that was one of the key themes, like exploration of the Northwest Passage. Back then, this was the uncharted frontier. This was the final frontier for, Northwest Passage was like the coolest thing they could think of.
Yeah, they just wanted that tea from India real bad, eh?
So bad.
They're like, we got to get a quicker way to get this tea.
Let's see. So these search parties went out. They couldn't find any sign of these ships. They couldn't find either the Erebus or the Terror. They couldn't find anything left from either ship. So theories started to arise of what had happened to them. It wasn't unusual for things to claim ships of those kind. Back in the day, they could have been crushed by ice. When you do it wasn't strange for ships to be stuck in the ice. Like usually if you sailed through the Northwest Passage, you were predicting, you were anticipating that your ship was going to be stuck for a winter in the ice.
For sure, because you have your boat. It's got an ironclad hull. It's meant for ice breaking, but you can only break ice up to a certain thickness, and eventually you stop, and the ice just consumes your ship, and there's nothing you can do. Like, sorry. Hopefully it melts in the spring so we can keep going.
Like, all right, man. Batten the hatches. Bust out the
And I mean,
canned
once that ice gets on that ship, if it keeps freezing, it'll keep expanding, and it can literally crush the hulls of the boats.
For sure.
So that wasn't unusual. Disease, I mean, they still had scurvy back then. Scurvy was still a big problem.
Scurvy was a problem, but I read that they had like a shitload of lemon juice on board to combat scurvy.
Is that really all it takes?
You need vitamin C, right?
Is that all it is? Is a vitamin C deficiency?
Extreme vitamin C deficiency.
Wow.
They didn't know this at the time, but that they figured out that vitamin C, juice from limes or lemons will usually combat scurvy. It will help to combat scurvy. But what they didn't know is that vitamin C degrades over time, and then if you leave it, if you leave it long enough, like you'll still face scurvy. I mean, for those extended voyages,
you got your lemon juice. It's full of vitamin C, but after 6 months or a year, it kind of just loses most of it, and then
right, exactly, it loses its potency. So
makes sense. Just like like boiling vegetables, they lose all their vitamins because you destroy them all eventually.
And pretty much typical of the British imperialist superiority complex, they thought that maybe they had been attacked by Inuits, by the people of Native America.
I thought you were about to say aliens, but
no, it makes sense. The Inuit people with their vast navies.
They're savages up there.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what they thought of the Inuits at that time. So they thought of any native people. Oh, they're savages. They'll just kill you and cut the fat from you and use it to clean their.
Gary, you better not say anything about us using Inuits as savages because come on,
that is the technical term. That is correct.
Inuit is the good term. Eskimo is the bad term.
Yeah,
Eskimo is the bad one.
All right, Eskimo Gary.
Well, we don't know what he is.
It's Mongoloid Eskimo Gary.
I think Mongoloid actually considers like northern.
I think it does take into that.
Yeah, I think it
Oh,
takes
is
into
it?
consent. It's like
May encompass those ones.
Yeah, it may encompass the whole
Well,
area.
both those words encompass Gary, so
Yeah, come on, Gary.
very fitting. So
The search parties go out.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of boats, wasn't it?
I don't have the exact number of boats, but there were a lot of expeditions that set out to go find these two ships because at the time, speaking around that time, losing these two ships, they were basically technological marvels. It was the cultural equivalent of losing the International Space Station.
Right.
Oh, that would suck.
Because they were like full like leading edge military ships, and then by the time they
these things
converted them, put all that desalination stuff, they were just like they had two in a million.
Yeah, these were they're unique exploration ships that they had put a lot of money, a lot of time into them, and completely losing track of these two marvels of modern technology or exploration, was a really big thing. So they had lots of expeditions that went out that were funded by both the Admiralty and also a couple that were funded by Franklin's wife, Lady Franklin.
Right.
Well, she was fucking loaded.
He had a lot of money. He was a rear admiral.
Yeah, lots of cash.
It's so they didn't even really give a fuck about the crew. They were like, we
want those damn
we
ships
got to
back.
recover the ships. Like that was their
Well, I mean,
goal.
they probably wanted the ships. They wanted the charts, what they had found. I mean, that was the most important thing was the information.
Yeah.
And for that,
can't go to complete waste.
they had the ships. I think both of them, or at least one of them, was equipped. Like they had distributed these canisters for keeping records. Like if you were they're like copper canisters, I think, and you were like if they had any charts, things like that, information, correspondences, the ships were supposed to store them in these canisters just in case, they were weatherproof and to keep things safe.
Right. Okay,
So-
so these rescue missions, they eventually they started finding stuff, right?
Yeah, they found some things, and I think it was about 18. Let me see here. 18. Let's see. I want to say.
I want to say it was like 1848 or something by the time they actually got there or something, but
Yeah, I think it was about 18. One of the expeditions sent out by Lady Franklin found some things. They found artifacts from the expedition. They found like silverware. They found plates. Just not much. And they found like one message that was sealed in a can. And that one, at that point, they had found it on King William Island. I think this is where most of the story takes place. Is what happened.
Well, yeah, I think they found they found 3 dead bodies on what was called Beachy Island.
Yeah, Beachy Island does
So-
come first. So
yes,
they
yeah,
had
but-
evidence of a winter camp there. Yeah,
Yeah, so evidence of a winter camp. I think there was between. I think it was like winter of 1845 and 1846 because they actually found their records, right? But they found,
Right.
they found 3 graves on Beachy Island.
So 3 guys croaked.
3 guys croaked.
these 3 died.
They're dead.
Right.
They're dead before the rest of the crew, so there's still 100 and whatever it is.
And those are actually the ones that they had exhumed in 1984. They had those bodies taken out.
Yeah, let's get back to that after because that leads to
okay.
more of the conspiracy side of it. But
Okay, so we'll touch on that later.
They first went to Beachy Island. They found these 3 things, and then they went down to what was that called?
King William Island.
Yeah. So as the expeditions, like the rescue expeditions, kept going, they went down, and that's where they started finding like those like the rock. They're like almost like a rock tomb with like tin
Cans.
can inside with paper in it, like describing what happened.
Right. They found 2 of them. I know they found the first message, which was sealed in a can. It was sealed in a tin can, and I think that was the one that said "all is well." Like everything was, they still had high morale at that point. And then they found the second message, and this message had been written almost 2 years after the first message, and it had said that pretty much we're screwed. Like we've already lost about 30% of the crew. We've been trapped in ice for 2 years, basically, is what it was saying.
Yeah, pretty much 2
And,
years. Yeah.
they're in a bad way.
That's where they found out that John Franklin had actually died.
Right, John had actually. They said they put him at 1847, so 2 years. Yeah, after they had left, he died.
Huh. So what you're saying is morale was pretty low.
Morale was really low.
Really low at that
And
point.
hit an all-time low.
Yeah, but I think in one of these notes, I think this is where it said that John Franklin had died, and the remaining 105 officers and men were attempting to venture by land for a Canadian mainland settlement by the Hudson Bay Company, somewhere in that northern island area.
They said they left the ships at this point. What they guessed had happened, what they put together from forensic evidence, is that the crews left their ships. They loaded up one longboat that they were going to attempt to pull on a walk south to that outpost, or the outpost that was there. And that outpost was about 600 miles. They're going to have to walk 600 miles, pulling this longboat, which they said probably weighed around 1,400 pounds.
Which is a lot, but if you had that many guys actually pulling it to start, it would feel light to start with, but as guys started croaking.
Yeah, as you guys started dying, getting, just if we get to the food and stuff, like getting weaker, running low on supplies,
so
like that just would have not been fun.
Spoiler alert, I'm guessing no one made it to the Hudson Bay Company.
Oh, yeah, so they went off for the Hudson Bay Company outpost. None made it.
Not a single one.
One person made it.
So did they ever track that group?
Well, like I've read that they could kind of trace. You can trace like the dead bodies. You can trace like the cans they left, and they were in a group for a while, and after a while they kind of started to split into two groups. Is kind of what I read, and eventually that the trail was ran cold, and then there was no more clues to be found.
So here's my question. To me, right now, with the information we're given, it sounds pretty cut and dry kind of thing. You know, they got trapped in ice. They're like, okay, well, fuck it. Let's tow a boat. Let's try to walk. We're fucking stuck. They all die in the cold, frigid winters. So what's the conspiracy? What's the strange? What's odd about this?
It's very strange because they had so much food and so much resources, and they knew what they were getting into. They knew they were going to the Arctic. They knew they're going to get their ship was going to get stuck in the ice, and they have to wait at the winters. So that's like the weird part is that why leave the ship? Why go on land? Like,
but the ships weren't found, right?
They found one. I'm pretty sure they found one, didn't they, Dan?
They found both, actually. Both were recently found. In October 1st, 2014, they found the Erebus, which was submerged underwater.
Oh, okay. But
and September 12th, 2016, they found it this year. They confirmed it that they
Terror?
found it this year. Yeah, they found the Terror.
Oh, so they didn't find them because in 1980 they went looking for them, and that's when in 1980 they went to Beachy Island.
Yeah.
And they exhumed the graves of these people.
The bodies. Yep.
Yeah.
And after it's been like 115 years or something between when they were buried and they exhumed the bodies, and they were like, because they're in the permafrost, so they were all deformed, but you could still tell like they were human. You can still see.
I mean,
like,
they were pretty good condition.
They looked like they were frostbitten, obviously like frozen solid, but you could see a person's face. You could almost like look at their character of their body.
Yeah,
like,
hair, all the soft tissues were very well preserved.
Okay.
Which is usually what happens in permafrost.
Okay, so they found them. So here's my thing. They got stuck in the ice. The ice wins. It breaks the ships. The ship sinks. So they don't have a choice. They have to get off the.
But we don't know the ship sank yet. The ship is sank now.
Okay, the ship sank now. So let's say, for reasoning's sake, like, because I don't see, if you had all the food, why not stay on the ship? So my guess is the ship has taken damage at this point. That's why they're getting off. They're like, well, we're fucked.
It's very plausible.
So what else is weird with this case?
There's a lot of weird stuff, actually.
Yeah, it just keeps getting weirder.
The forensic evidence tells us how these people died.
Perfect. This is juicy.
The three people who died on Beachy Island, when they exhumed those bodies and they did autopsies on those corpses, they found out that those three actually died of tuberculosis, which is not, at that time, it wasn't uncommon for that disease to claim. sailors and anybody really back then. The consumption, you know.
Yeah.
So those 3 died of tuberculosis. But what is kind of strange about the Beachy Island?
They didn't have the Lam Elisa test back then.
No, they did not.
No. What is weird about the Beachy Island site is that they said they found a lot of evidence. They found hundreds of tin cans that basically told you the ships had wintered there at Beachy Island. Like they had pulled down anchor, and that's where they were going to stay for the winter time. But when they left, they said they left a lot of stuff behind, like a lot of stuff that was kind of strange. That they like, why would you leave so much stuff behind? It looked like they left in a hurry. So that was one of the kind of weird things.
Like what kind of stuff? Like food and just like ship supplies?
Yeah, ship supplies and some of the food they left behind. Just a lot of things that looked strange. You're like, why would you leave all that stuff behind, and why in such a hurry? Why did you leave so fast?
Dun, dun, dun.
And that was okay. Here's my question: do we know if those Beachy Island, the 3 from Beachy Island, were they buried?
They were buried.
Yes.
Okay, because I was going to say maybe back then they thought maybe what they had was contagious and stuff, and they left them there with supplies. But no, so they were buried. So it doesn't make sense why they left supplies.
Yeah, they were. It was kind of strange. One of the leading theories is that Captain Franklin, like when the ice started to break, he felt like there wasn't going to be much time for them to get away. Like they weren't going to be able to beat the ice. Like they needed to get out like right then. So they loaded up the boats as fast as they could and took off.
Yeah,
so they didn't have time.
I heard that they were stationed there. They get their ships got ice locked, and they had a brief moment where they could make a dash to try and get out of there. So they just quickly unanchored and tried to peace out.
Go.
And that's probably kind of explains why they would leave like a lot of stuff behind. But
okay.
Yeah, so they get a little further south, and they get to what is known now as King William Island, and I think they're saying this is where shit got fucked. They're like, this is what happened. The Terror and the Erebus, like there were some factors that they feel like from the beginning. These ships were done. Like there's no way that this expedition was going to make it. But another kind of perfect storm of unfortunate events was that apparently scientists recently took ice core samples from the polar ice caps, which they do many times to analyze weather patterns or even chart things like global warming or climate change. You can tell from drilling into the ice and taking up the core samples. They tell you how much ice melted. You know it could basically tell you what the temperature was of the planet at a certain time. And the ice core samples, which they estimated to be from the same time, about late 1840s, they said that it was like the worst polar winter for 5 years, like a 5-year period. It was the worst winter. Like there was no way that the ice was going to melt. Like when they got stuck there, it was just like they were stuck there, and when they had anticipated the ice melting, it wasn't going to melt.
It never melted. It never melted that like spring and summer. It just stayed frozen.
Right,
solid.
it just stayed there. It just stayed frozen solid.
Oh, that's the worst for me.
So then that would explain to me why you leave the boat. You've given up hope. Like, a full year the ice doesn't melt. You're like, okay, well, are we going to sit and wait another year? If we wait another year, we're out of food.
But they weren't out of food. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. That's only year 2, year 3, and then they had 5 years of provisions.
Yeah.
But so let's get.
You want to talk about the food, or?
Okay, so the food. We've mentioned this on the Power Hour about the lead. The lead in canning process back in the day was pretty rampant. Not to the point where like lead poisoning. It takes a lot of lead to like really make. I think it takes a lot of lead to really make your mind go nuts. But there's evidence that this canning process that they did, because of the short notice of the trip, in order to get that much food ready for it, there was some shoddy soldering processes. Like when they went in the 80s and they collected all the cans, they kind of looked at like maybe that's too much soldering for like one can, they would just like infest the food with lead. So lead poisoning can make people go crazy, and you see things that aren't there, blah blah blah. So that's kind of one theory. Dan, what do you got on it?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. That the canning process back then was not perfect. Now, they had been canning food for a number of years, and other ships at the time had been set off with provisions, canned provisions before, and at long time afterwards. And no sailors really suffered from any really degenerative effects of lead poisoning, or that they could observe anyways.
Yeah.
But that wasn't accounting for that these voyages that they set out on weren't these ones where you were going to be stuck in the ice for 2 or 3, 4 years. Also, the canning process was not perfect, and they're saying that a lot of the supplies that made it onto the ships, the Erebus and the Terror, actually ended up being crap. Like I forget the ratio of how much, but they're saying that a lot of the food had signs of botulism, like they were decomposing.
I heard the botulism because if you don't boil your cans enough before you actually seal the air in, botulism can run rampant in your food and just destroy everything. And if you eat it, then you're screwed. So.
Yeah. Yep. So they may have ditched a lot of provisions along the way, so that definitely took a toll on their chances of survival.
Oh, I never thought about that actually. That they noticed a lot of cans were bad, so they just started chucking them.
Yeah. They might have figured it out, and they threw a lot of it out.
So I'm going to say, because I'm going to go with the simplest explanation right now. I'll be the devil's advocate.
Aliens.
Aliens.
No, so that's what I would think, right? The shitty work, and now they're realizing it, right? Over time they've spent, shit's going rotten. So now they're stuck in the ice for a year, and they're going, the amount of stuff that we have that's rotten, we're not going to last. We got to make a break for it. We got to go. Like we're fucked if we don't.
Who knows?
Yeah, and I think that was the general consensus of the crew was like, we need to go. We're going to be. We don't know when the ships are going to be released out of the ice. I mean, we've been stuck here for a year longer than we thought we were going to be. If we don't get out now, it's either stay here and die on the ships, or try to hike it 600 miles to the closest outpost.
So, of any signs of the other parties?
So, what they figured out on King William Island, they're saying that some of the 100 or so that set out from the ships where they had been ice locked in King William Island, they said that they set off down the coast of King William Island, and maybe at that point they had small splinter groups start to co off. You'd lose 4 or 5 guys, whether it was starvation or whether it was cold, and then you'd lose other words that they said a group might have turned back and gone back to the ships, thinking that they would be safer there, or that they would make it that's if we're going to be rescued, that's where we need to be. That's where they're going to look for us. We need to be on these ships.
Yeah.
They said that on King William Island, it looks like there is evidence of pretty much 2 factions that grew up in this kind of morale-less situation. You had a group that was on the ship, which probably was most of the officers and some of the other more loyal crewmen, and then you had another one that was over in a tent on the island. They're in a kind of a tent town, like a big tent they had erected on the shore. Now, there is a strange story that was told to one of the investigators of this incident. 1869, there's this guy named Charles Francis Hall, and he was an American journalist, and he spent a lot of time with the Inuits around that area to try and figure out what happened to the expedition. Now, this was kind of strange at the time because a lot of people, like especially the British, discounted all the interactions that the Inuits had and had reported of them having with the crew of the expedition. the Inuits had interacted with them on many occasions. Like they came passing through.
Yeah,
like the Inuits would go out there hunting. They're in hunting grounds, and the Inuits would talk to them. They didn't speak English, but they could see the conditions of the crewmen, and they told it to people back at their village.
Yeah, like I read that the Inuit people in their accounts, they seen this group of white men stranded in the ice in the wintertime, and they talked to them or try to talk to them or communicate with them, but it was known by the Inuits that they weren't going to make it and they couldn't help them, so they just left them pretty much. And then they would,
right. I mean,
they would they found their camp like the year after, and they were all dead pretty much.
Yeah. Well, before they were dead, they were saying one Inuit woman told about whether it was one of her relatives or something had gone to the ship, like had gone to the ship, just to explore it or whatever. Didn't see anybody, but actually went inside. And he said when he went inside the ship, down inside the hold of the ship, he saw men. And they were down there, and he said that they were black, like their skin was black, not necessarily from frostbite, like they were alive, and like they were wearing black, and they were just everything black, and they were not happy, and they weren't going to let him leave. Like he felt like they weren't going to let him leave until what appeared to be the captain of the ship came down and told the men, like, let him go, like he needs to leave. And the captain said something strange to the Inuit, and he said he basically tried to communicate the idea that there's a tent on the shore far from here. If you see that tent, don't go there. He told them, just don't go there. Stay away.
Huh.
And then let the Inuit go. He let the Inuit go.
So you have a crew now. You have an eyewitness account of a crew all in black, skin black, who are very aggressive and borderline hostile, warning them about another group in Tent City not wanting to go there. So I remember reading somewhere that there were signs of cannibalism.
There was signs of survival cannibalism in the end. In the crew that went in 1980 or whatever, they found the bones, and they could pretty much see that the bones had been chiseled as to get the meat off, either frozen meat off a bone. Like there was like scratch marks and chisel marks off of it. So there was definite signs of survival cannibalism.
So maybe that's why the group split, right? Because you had half willing to
eat everyone else,
yeah,
and half being like, we're not going to resort to that, right?
I think that was the agreed happening. What happened was that the ones in Tent City, they said they found evidence over there of bones that they had scratch marks on them, which are evidence of like systematic butchering.
Yeah,
like they had a lot of cuts where the joints were, and also where the hands and feet were. And somebody made the like they paid particular attention to cutting off the hands and the feet. And they're saying that's because the hands and the feet are the most parts that are most human, and that taking those off made it maybe easier for
doesn't really seem like you're eating your own kind anymore,
right? To commit that the last resort.
Yeah, I don't know. One thing we didn't touch on actually with the lead poisoning, it was more than just the cans. I read because that the desalination system that was on there was a state of the art system for that time,
right?
And it was all that ship was retrofitted with lead pipe with lead soldering.
Yep.
And usually lead pipe and soldering, it usually takes a while to build up a membrane around the lead so it stops leaching off into water.
Like a scaling. Yeah, like usually you'll build up a scaling. Yeah.
Exactly. So the theory goes that because that was such a new system and the way they put it in and how the joints were soldered and there was so much lead in the system, that because they were desalinating so much like seawater, because it wasn't just for drinking, it was for cooking and all, it was for everything on the ship.
Yeah.
That they said because the pipes were so fresh that they would just leach so much lead into the water that you were drinking and eating, that would have caused you to have, that's very probable to cause like severe lead poisoning, which would cause like dementia, just like you wouldn't know who you are, you wouldn't know what's going on.
And cannibalism would probably look like a more acceptable practice at that point.
Exactly.
So here's my thing. Like we always get messages about this one. Like what's the conspiracy? What's the conspiracy about this one? Because for me, it seems, pretty.
Well, you want to hear a conspiracy?
Yeah, I want to hear conspiracy.
Yeah.
All right. There's this guy, Jeffrey Blair Latta's book, The Franklin Conspiracy. He postulates that between 1818 and 1859, there was a secret scheme by the British by the British and the Canadian Arctic. What do you even call these guys? Government? I guess it was not really Canadian government at the time, but anyways, they were hiding a race of giant alien beings.
Aha.
And Mr. Conspiracy talked about this on the last
I
Power
kinda
Hour.
remember that.
Anyways, these likely alien beings had superior knowledge of radiation and the ability to levitate ships. So the conspiracy goes this way, that these alien beings wanted to experiment on this crew who's up there and I guess levitated their ships onto the ice or into the ice or onto shore or wherever it was at start. It's a crazy conspiracy, but that's one of them. That's that. That's the Mr. Conspiracy.
They said there's some evidence. There were Inuits that reported seeing the corpse of, like they said they saw the body somewhere on the crew or on the ship. They said they saw a body of what looked like a giant with long teeth. That's one of the quotes of what they had.
Either
that's weird.
Is that an L nasty or an A nasty?
Maybe they killed an A nasty.
An A nasty. Yeah. Ooh.
Another theory put forth by, I think it was that Franklin, that same book, was they were saying that they had also, the Admiralty had, commissioned this exploration to chart parts of Hollow Earth or explore regions around the entrance to Hollow Earth, or they had a theory that they wanted to find this thing.
I've heard,
which is popular.
I heard
at the time.
it was more than just a Northwest Passage. It was a bunch of different things that was a conspiracy hiding stuff. But there's not really a lot on it, so it's a really weird mystery. That's for sure.
Yeah. Is it even because I can make to me these conspiracies, I know this one has been mentioned a couple times on Twitter. We've got emails about it. People want us to do it. To me, I'm like, the best cases are the ones where the little, when you have to make a little jump, and making that little jump to make a connection
turns out to be
is and that's crazy, but it just takes a little jump. Those are the best ones. To me, for this one to get really crazy, you have to take a pretty fucking mighty leap. Because all the ones for me, the little jumps are the ones where it's like, okay, yeah, they had lead poisoning. Yeah, they were all painted black because they were fucking going crazy. And they were split up because one half was okay with eating people to survive. They were eating people to survive because their food was all fucking moldy. They left the ships because they've been stuck there a year. They're running out of food. I can make little jumps to those assumptions. Other than the fucking giant with the long teeth, you can't really. That's kind of a fucking weird one.
That's a Mr. Conspiracy.
Yeah, that's out of left
eaten
field.
by giant alien super beasts.
But for me, this one, all the little leaps make more probable sense, not human. But you have to go way out there with not a lot of evidence for me to be like. It'd be different if they were like, oh, yeah, we found the bodies and they were all fucking highly irradiated. Yeah. Then you're like, oh shit, like Dyatlov Pass, right? Where it's like, there's trace amounts of radiation. We don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Like this one. I can make the leap.
If you want to take another perspective on it, and you want to go with a more supernatural perspective at it, and you would come at it from that angle, I would recommend Dan Simmons' 2000 novel, The Terror. AMC's. We were talking about it. AMC's turning it into a movie. I've read it.
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first.
I read it. It's pretty good. It's slow in some parts, but if you know some of I didn't know the background about the Franklin expedition. But if you're interested in it, it's pretty accurate portrayal of what happened. It was published in 2007, so it was before the Erebus and the Terror had been found, or the actual ships had been found. Yeah. So it kind of puts a little bit of a supernatural spin on what happened. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it's pretty good. If you want to check it out, it's a pretty fun read.
In my mind, I'm going to say, because we've touched on this in a Power Hour, we've dedicated most of this episode to this. That's the gavel. This one's closed for me unless we get some crazy new information.
It's not solved, but there's nothing really to pull you in a way that like,
Yeah, like I don't understand why people are always like, oh, look into this one, it's so weird, and I'm like, well,
I mean,
they ate
it's
each
a
other.
crazy mystery for 100 years. I mean, it was like we had no idea what had happened to him. So I mean,
yeah,
you could just
until
throw out
until
theories and stuff.
1980, there was nothing on it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I imagine if we did this podcast 1979, maybe there's a little more wiggle room for weird shit to happen. But to me, I'm like, there isn't, like, there is holes in this story, but it's easier if, the simplest explanation is usually the true one. And it's,
Occam's razor.
yeah, it's like, and it's easy to make this assumption of like what we're talking about. Like Elisa Lam, you make little jumps and you're like, well, it's a little weird. And now it's
Operation
even
High Jump.
Yeah, exactly.
Operation High Jump, you make a little jump and it gets even weirder. Like this one, you have to make a big leap. So I think this one's pretty much case closed for this one. We've did it. This one was
You know what?
we get lots of call outs to do this one. So
We got lots of calls. Look it up. It's a really weird story. There's a lot of good books on it, and there's a lot of information. There's way more than we covered. There's more on it, but
it is interesting. But when you get right down to it, like conspiracy wise and alien wise, like, it's not like to me not much. Now we don't want to end the show now.
we're gonna go after hours here, and we're gonna.
Are we
take
gonna do
some
after
Skype,
hours?
Yeah, we're gonna take some Skype calls.
Okay, cool. And let's just shoot. Let's talk about whatever conspiracies we want. So should we just end this one right now? You think?
Yeah, let's. If you want a T-shirt, PayPal transfer to meteormusicstudio@gmail.com. $20 in Canada, $23 in the States. That includes shipping. It's just more expensive in the States because it's more expensive to ship there.
Now is it 23 American dollars?
No, 23 Canadian dollars. All
Okay.
Canadian dollars. So it's like honestly like 16 or 17 American. It's a cheap shirt. They're nice.
Yeah.
Braden's wearing one now.
It is. It's awesome.
They're a nice shirt.
I'll say they're really comfortable. I hadn't seen them, and when I found out the make, I was like, I don't know how they're going to be, but I am wearing it right now, and it is so soft.
It's a nice, soft,
absolutely
light
love it.
shirt.
Yeah.
You can wear an undershirt. You can wear a normal shirt. You can rip the sleeves off.
Like
you
this
do
would
whatever
be
you want.
an unreal summer shirt. Like
Cut the
it's-
sleeves off.
yeah,
If you want, like some people wanted to,
Yeah.
some people wanted a singlet.
yeah.
Take
Most-
the show,
mostly
take it to the
Australians.
gun show.
You got an allergy to sleeves?
If you don't like the sleeves, just rip them off. Who
Yeah.
cares?
It's your shirt.
You can always send us beer money to keep the show running. We're trying to make more avenues so we can make more money, so we can make the show more often and better for you guys. We like doing it. It is a lot of work though, and so we gotta.
It's not free to do. We don't want to make money, but we'd like to do it for
Yeah,
free for us. So
for
if everyone
us, yeah.
if everyone contributes, we're gonna be starting a Patreon account. We don't want to do advertising. We're not about it.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear about any fucking mattresses,
Yeah,
mortgages,
fucking-
stamps,
Oh,
or
God.
any other bullshit
Stamps.com.
podcast.
Fuck stamps.com.
That's our shout out. Fuck stamps.com.
Yeah, who the fuck is buying stamps in this day and age? Who the fuck wants to buy stamps online? You know when you need a stamp?
gives a shit?
The last thing you're going to do is be like, oh, I'm going to go online. You know what? I'm out of stamps. You're going to go, oh, I'm going to run to the store to get a couple. You're not going to go, I'm going to order some online.
I'm gonna order a fucking huge. Anyways,
Well, I don't know if it's so much about stamps as about postage. Because I mean, you do have to.
it's more-
you
yeah,
have to
it's-
take your stuff to the. You have to take your package to the
but
post
hey,
office. and
hey,
mail
you know
it.
what? We're not talking about it.
Yeah.
What we're saying is here, we're not advertising this bullshit. So we're gonna try and do a Patreon to make the show just run smoother, so we don't have to put our own money in. Everyone contributes a little bit, and it would be sweet.
Our big cost right now in the overhead is our SoundCloud account, which we host everything on. That
Oh.
costs money.
We didn't do.
What?
There was a new 5-star review on iTunes. You should look it up real quick.
Oh snap!
I don't have my
that up.
phone's dead.
Oh, okay, fuck.
Who wants to? I did see that though. So thank you for the new 5-star review. Dan's. Hold on. We'll
what did
keep
it say?
bullshitting till
Yeah, okay, Dan, you find it.
Dan. You pull it up. It said
Oh,
something.
I don't have iTunes. What are you talking about?
fuck.
Okay, go to the podcast. Go on your iPad.
No, it doesn't work on the iPad. It's not the same. Anyways, one thing we
Go.
didn't.
You got your phone.
I got no internet.
For fuck's
We're all
sake.
fucked up here. But there was.
Yeah, I know.
But okay, there's one thing we didn't. We talked a long time ago about going to Fan Expo. We're not going.
It's not. Can't happen.
So it didn't work out
Too
this year.
much. Maybe next year.
Maybe next year we didn't have enough money. Braden's moving. This didn't work out, but we're going to. You know what? We have a lot more listeners now than we did 4 months ago. So
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
if it keeps going at the same rate, by this time next year there'll be 40,000 people listening per
Okay,
week.
can I look up?
Oh,
If I
that'd
go
be
to
cool.
iTunes.com, I mean, I'm looking it up now. If you
Yeah.
guys keep bullshitting.
Yeah, keep spreading the word. Like, other thing, we get a lot of messages with people wanting to start podcasts or wanting to join our podcast or start their own and use our name and stuff. Just start your own. Start your own podcast. Talk about the same stuff. It's cool.
If you, there's not enough. There's more than enough room for all conspiracy podcasts.
Yeah.
Start your own. If you want some help, we can't. Someone wanted to start an alien theorist theorizing chapter in California. It's not going to happen.
We're not a motorcycle club, man. There's two people who would listen, right? Like, you know what I mean? We just split our audience. We do this just for fun, but at the same time, it's our baby. We started this by accident, so
Yeah, exactly.
there's a ton of good names you can take. Alien philosophers philosophizing. Take that.
Hey, wait. You know what? We are actually alien philosophers philosophizing because that's the only podcast chart we're on, and we're on like number 50 all the
Yeah.
time, 50 or less.
Okay, so let's see. I got I've got
aliens-
3 5-star reviews. I guess
It'll be
I've got one by Bobby WG, Skrish, and Middle Lady Grace.
I don't know. There's a brand new one.
what's
Seen one. Let's see. We got one 5-star review by Bobby WG. Guys throwing things against the wall, speculating,
oh,
has
those are
great
old.
potential.
That's like the
Oh,
first one.
yeah,
But you know what? Read it. We never read that online.
That's true. Yeah, read it.
Go ahead, read it.
Okay, because they seem genuinely interested and level-headed. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
We
you,
did.
thank you.
We
We-
did because that was like our first review.
Yeah, it was one of our first
Oh,
ones.
is it?
Yeah,
It was
so
the
we
first review?
did in
Okay.
fact keep up the good work.
But anyways, we're going to go after hours here.
Whoever did that 5-star review, it'll be on next.
We'll get you on the next
Fuck.
one. We forgot.
Can't
We
believe I
fucked
blew
up.
that. You know
We
what?
fucked it up.
I would have
So-
had my phone not died
Yeah. Okay.
because I'm usually on that, and I
Okay.
think I did.
We have
that
some
loaded.
Skype callers. We're going to go after hours here, so stand by.
Ow.
Keep those eyes on the sky.
That's great.
That's a good one. Yeah, let's get some Skype callers.